How's it going, guys? DragonStar Production here, back with another What If video, and in this edition of Dragon Ball What Ifs, we'll be covering What If Tarble was sent to Namek Part 3 as voted on by y'all in the community tab. And with that being said, there was a lot that changed during the Namek Saga and the interaction with Frieza, but instead of giving a recap, I'm just going to leave the link to the video above and below in the description. That being said, let's get into the video intro. So our story left off with Frieza charging up his final form, but was immediately drilled by a special beam cannon upon transforming, and this actually caused Frieza to plunge backwards into the water. Everybody stood aside in awe, thinking that the battle might have finally been over, and unlike Goku's Spirit Bomb, the job was actually done. Piccolo had killed Frieza thanks to charging up his special beam cannon for quite some time as soon as he was revived. This means that planet Namek wouldn't be destroyed, and although Elder Guru had passed away at thinking that his planet was doomed, it was saved after all. But Mori was more than happy to become the new Elder in replace of Guru. So eventually everybody that was killed by Frieza and the destruction to their planet would both be revived or fixed, and this actually includes Vegeta. But Vegeta doesn't go back to Earth in this timeline. Instead, the people who return to Earth are the same who came to Namek. So Goku, Krillin, Gohan, Bulma, and Piccolo, considering that he lives on Earth. Tarble decided to stay on Namek, well, because it is home and hopefully able to protect it from threats like Frieza in the near future. Also, his big brother being revived, he also decides that he's going to stay on Namek as well. And having Vegeta there would kind of replace Nail as a training partner, but I also believe that in this way it could possibly turn Vegeta much more into a nicer guy. Just being around his brother and the Namekian's nice nature, it would eventually rub off on Vegeta, even if it was only slightly. As first, this creates some massive effects to what happens in the story. For starters, Goku is on Earth and not Yardrat training and not learning the instant transmission. However, this does mean that we will have a stronger batch of Z Fighters thanks to Goku actually being around on Earth. And like in canon, a time machine would still appear, and this would be Trunks. Trunks is actually surprised to see that there is no Frieza or King Cold in this timeline, but he still realizes that he has to inform Goku and the others of the heart virus and the threat of the androids, and that they are coming in only 3 years. Trunks would also be shocked when he sees that Goku is one of the people who arrived to greet him and not Vegeta. Goku would then, though, explain all the events up to now, while Trunks would explain his as well. This, of course, being overheard by Piccolo, triggers a training montage for all the Z Fighters. And for simple sake, that will actually say that everybody scales to their powers in canon except for Goku. And Goku, although in base would be just as strong, he hasn't yet to achieve his Super Saiyan form. Trunks also in this timeline didn't show them the Super Saiyan form, so they are unaware of how to access it, or even if it's possible. However, Goku did focus heavily on his Kaioken, improving it tremendously all the way up to 30 times. That being said, let's jump straight into the Android Saga. Goku would launch at Android 19 just like in canon, except using his Kaioken to get the boost on him, and this actually works quite well. Goku even gets more damage than his Super Saiyan because Goku is using his Kaioken, so he's trying to work very fast, that way his body doesn't have too much of a strain on it, just in case he needs to fight more. Dr. Gero couldn't believe his eyes as Goku was about to deliver the final blast, but before Goku could release the Kamehameha, he fell face first onto the dirt. Not because of the Kaioken, but because of his heart. Goku picked himself up, and he tried to attempt to fight even more, but the Kaioken was just applying more strain onto his heart. Goku was giving it all until it gave out, his heart barely beating. They were trying to feed him a senzu bean, but this was no good. Instead, Yamcha would rush over to grab Goku and take him back to his house, hoping that Goku could recover. In the meantime, Piccolo would be the only one capable of fighting the androids, at least on power, so Piccolo would step in to fight Android 19 in place of Goku. Piccolo wastes very little time of making quick work of 19 before hearing Trunks interrupting, saying that these aren't the androids that are in his timeline. This was the split moment that Gero and 19 needed, as 19 would then grab Piccolo by the throat, draining his energy, then escaping alongside his creator, Dr. Gero. The two would actually manage to make it back to the lab without being found. Where they arrived back at the lab, Dr. Gero would just wait and regroup before deciding on if he should release 17 and 18. The Z Fighters would all be searching for Dr. Gero and Android 19 until finally Krillin comes up with the idea to ask Bulma if she knows anything about Dr. Gero or the Red Ribbon Army. Bulma was able to fill in some minor details about where Dr. Gero could have a secret lab, but Trunks would then ask about Vegeta and his brother Tarble, asking if it would actually be possible if they could help fight the androids. Bulma states that the ship is still working just fine that they took to take to Namek, so they don't see why they couldn't at least try. That being said, they would set off to Namek once more, this time only being Krillin and Bulma, while the others stay behind preparing for Gero to make his next move instead of charging to his lab on his terms. The only thing was, Gero remained quiet for about a week. This entire time, Gero had been working on some kinks in both himself and Android 19, but also Android 17 and 18. And although he wasn't sure if the kinks were fixed inside of 17 and 18, he knew the only way to find out was by testing them. And this being said, Gero would tell Android 19 to head down to the basement while he tests them out. This ends up in being the death of Dr. Gero and actually being killed by 17 just like in canon. 17 and 18 would release Android 16 as they would be on the way to kill Son Goku. Android 19, hearing the plans, decides to tag along because who doesn't have fun in killing Son Goku? And speaking of Goku, the heart virus is hitting him way harder than it did in canon. The Kaioken simply made the virus eat so much faster, it took Goku a lot of time to recover. In fact, he is now picking his head up off the pillow for the very first time. And for Bulma and Krillin, when they arrive on Namek, they are met by the people they wanted to see, Tarble and Vegeta. Krillin is mind blown at the growth of power that the two have had. It was enormous. It was like they were Super Saiyans. After hearing the circumstances, they agree to leave with them. Tarble sees it as the least that he can do after the Z-Fighters helped him save his planet not too long ago. This would be a whole other week until they would arrive back on Earth. However, in the meantime, we are going to skip back to the androids where they rise up out of the lab where they make themselves known. They barked into Goku's house and Goku was defenseless. The androids threw Goku across the house as they then proceeded to kick Goku over and over. This was until Gohan rushed through the door with a flashing aura. Gohan was enraged and his power let the others know where they were, and Trunks immediately powers up to Super Saiyan and dashes in as well, while Gohan actually achieves Super Saiyan for the very first time. And it was a full-blown battlefield right now. The androids versus the Z-Fighters, but the androids simply seemed too strong. The others couldn't hold them off, but once more, Yamcha would slip out of fighting, moving Goku to a place hoping the androids wouldn't find him. This time, the lookout. As soon as the fight brawled out, the androids had smacked the Z-Fighters and were back on the prize of looking for Goku. They couldn't find him, so they took off, while Yamcha would swoop down and inform everyone of where Goku actually is. Everyone then proceeded to meet up on the lookout and train some more, considering that they needed it. They knew that they weren't enough and they had to do everything that they possibly could to defeat the androids. And as for Kami, he actually had an idea of how they could possibly defeat them. And when they arrive on the lookout, everybody trains immensely. Also, though, Kami mentions to Piccolo about fusing together, back into one being the Super Namekian. Piccolo hesitates, but before he could actually make a decision, Bulma, Krillin, Tarble, and Vegeta all land on top of the lookout. Like Krillin, they are all amazed by Tarble and Vegeta's increase of power. However, Goku would also finally be back onto his feet and ready to go. This then leads Kami to bring up the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Everybody agrees that using the Hyperbolic Time Chamber is going to be a good idea to gain strength in a quick amount of time to defeat the androids. Although Vegeta, actually thinking that he's helping out the Earthlings, wishes to go in first, especially after hearing that both Trunks and Gohan have both gotten Super Saiyan. In fact, Vegeta actually drags Trunks inside the chamber with him first, not knowing that it was his son. However, this would be very beneficial for both of them, even more than I think in the canon story. And this is because Vegeta is still rough and very prideful, but nowhere near as harsh as he was during the canon timeline. So the two were actually able to work together very well instead of training separately in the time chamber. And I'll even say the two were able to walk out as Master Super Saiyans, mainly due to the fact that Vegeta's base was so strong beforehand. Goku, of course, would follow up with going inside with Gohan. Their training goes quite well also. In fact, Tarble is actually intrigued to go inside of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber himself, as Kami would then call Tarble over before going inside. Tarble comes over and Kami asks Tarble if he would consider being the Guardian of Earth if him and Piccolo fuse. Kami knows that Tarble is true of heart and knows that he knows about all the Namekian legends, so is perfect for the job. Tarble looks at the others and he knows that Earth needs a guardian, but at the same time, he kind of feels like he's Namek's guardian, so he's conflicted. Kami tells him to think about it, but Piccolo then decides to actually fuse with Kami, realizing that they may need it in the long run, and then proceeds to walk inside the time chamber alongside Tarble. This would help Tarble as well because Piccolo is as strong as a Super Saiyan, if not stronger, and I'd say that Tarble, like the others, achieve a Master Super Saiyan. That being said, we have a team of Master Super Saiyans and a Super Namekian ready to fight the androids. The Z-Fighters along with Tarble and Vegeta all dash in different directions as they all charge their max, alerting all the androids. The androids, like the Z-Fighters, would split up as well, going in the targets of where the Z-Fighters were. And this actually gives the Z Fighters an advantage because all the androids aren't coming at them at one time. Android 19 heads towards Tarble, Android 16 goes in the direction of Goku and Gohan, as Android 18 is on the course to Vegeta, while Android 17 finds himself right in front of Trunks. These battles, to be honest, aren't really much of a battle. Android 19 stands absolutely no chance against Tarble, and as soon as Tarble realizes that 19 is a machine, he doesn't hesitate to blow him up with a finishing move that he took from his mentor, the nail gun. Android 16 clearly was the strongest of the androids, but Goku and Gohan working side by side, they were able to overcome the strength of Android 16, and then they ended up blowing him up as well with a father-son Kamehameha that evaporates all the mechanics of Android 17. And now let's talk about Android 18 and Vegeta. Vegeta outclasses 18 like the others outclass. They are androids. And to change things up, it's going to be Vegeta who kicks 18 in the arm and breaks it. And Vegeta continues to toss 18 around as if she was a toy until he finally charges up a Gallic gun and continues the trend of killing the androids. And for our last fight between Trunks and 17, it was more even than the others, but this was because Trunks was simply toying with 17 and has yet to turn Super Saiyan. Because as soon as Trunks does, 17 is caught burning inside a burning attack. So yup, just like that, the Android Saga is no more. Well, I guess it's no more because whenever Cell arrives in West City, he begins absorbing people's life force for power. However, with the Z Fighters sensing a mix of their own ki, they head that way. And when they encounter Cell, it's already over. Literally, Tarble, Vegeta, Goku, Trunks, Gohan, and Piccolo are all surrounding Cell, so I don't think he stands any chance here. So with the group effort, the Z Fighters combine their techniques as they defeat Cell and officially defeat the Red Ribbon Army once and for all. And with that being said, guys, it's going to lead us into a big time of peace before the Babidi Boo Saga. But the first real question that I have to ask before this video is over, with Kami now being a part of Piccolo, does Tarble accept the role as Earth's Guardian? Be sure to vote in the community tab because your vote matters and will affect this what if tremendously. And with that being said, guys, be sure to follow me on Twitter, join the Discord. DragonStar Productions is out.
Congratulations, champ. You made it to the end of the video. Now, if you hit that subscription button, that thumbs up button, and that bell icon, you won't catch a dynamite kick.